Hello and welcome to Casual Veteran Gamer, and in today's video I'm showing off Tavskier, a bard. Tavskier had been happily barding for a while, travelling around to different taverns in the Northern Realms, giving performances and generally living the good life. During one of his travels, a flying contraption which resembled a squid of some sort appeared in the air, seemingly from a different sphere. Being both intrigued and afraid, he was not fast enough to get away from the flying monstrosity, and he found himself imprisoned on the ship. Tavskier is now in a completely foreign and unknown land, hoping to survive and make friends along the way. So in the event that you hadn't figured it out already, this is a build using a mod for the Bard class. I've not used any mods before making this video, and I've already checked. There are a few Bard guides on YouTube. If you want me to make a Bard guide using the mod, let me know. However, once the Bard is officially released, I'll definitely make a video for that, whether I make one for the mod or not. I'll leave links for the Baldur's Gate 3 mod manager and the actual mod that I used. And with no further ado, let's actually look at the character itself. So, called Tavskier, or you already know that. The background, I think, quite obviously an entertainer. Bards kind of, I guess, naturally gravitate towards this background anyway. This gives him acrobatics and performance proficiency. Race, he's a human, so he got +1 to every single ability score. The appearance, I did my best. There isn't a whole lot of good choice to make him look like the source material from either the game or the TV show or the books. Class is Bard. Now, we get to choose 2 cantrips, and I quite like choosing Vicious Mockery and Friends, because Tavskier here is able to make the best of friends, but also deliver absolutely insulting words and insults to make people hurt on the inside and throw them off their attacks and give disadvantage to the next attack roll. And then bards are very much like sorcerers and rangers in that they have to choose a certain number of spells at every level, and they can swap one spell out every level. Again, from the source material, there's nothing really here that kind of links up with it, so I've just given him some kind of generic and slightly useful spells for the most part. So we've got Healing Word, we've got Fairy Fire, Sleep, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter, because Tavskier here is able to make anybody laugh, or put them to sleep with a nice story. He also gets Bardic Inspiration, which I'll show you later. He also gets Bardic Inspiration, so using a bonus action, you can give another character, but not himself, Bardic Inspiration, which then gives them a d6 bonus to an ability check, attack, or skill rolls for 3 rounds. And this is something you can use during skill checks as well, that you don't have to precast this. For his skills, I'd say he's probably quite good at Persuasion, getting himself out of difficult situations. Also Deception, he's able to deceive those when he needs to. And History, you know, Tavskier can tell a good story, and part of that is because he knows about the world and its people. His ability points, fairly well spread, which doesn't necessarily follow what I do for lots of my builds. For bards, their casting modifier is based off charisma, so that's always a good reason to put that up higher. And then everything kind of spread out. Just want to make sure he doesn't die, so dexterity, constitution at 14, and the other mental stats 12, leaving strength behind at 11. You could change this, of course, if you want to. It's no big deal here. Maybe you could make intelligence up to 13 in case you want to use Follow's Eye on him. So before the Mind Flayer gets its turn, Tavskier here is going to use Bardic Inspiration. He can only target allies, he can't target an enemy, which makes sense. So we target the Mind Flayer, it now has Bardic Inspiration, and if we examine the Mind Flayer, we can see that you are inspired. Add 1d6 to all ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls. So hopefully this will allow the Mind Flayer to actually hit Commander Zolk. Let's see. Oh, it's a miss. But let's have a look. He rolled a 3 and 1d20. Not great to start with. +1, plus proficiency, +4. That +4 has come from the Bardic Inspiration. And we'll see that there are only 2 turns remaining of it, which is quite nice because, at least in Baldur's Gate 3, it lasts for 3 turns. So Tavskier is at level 2, and he gets the Jack of all Trades class feature. It doesn't explain what this is in the game, in the mod, should I say. What it's supposed to do is add half the proficiency bonus to any skill that Tavskier is not proficient in. So it should be giving a +1 to all of the skills he's not proficient in. However, I've already checked it out. It doesn't quite work out. And Song of Rest. While taking a short rest, bards can play soothing music or tell a story or jokes that assist in recovery, making short rests heal 50% more hit points. This doesn't work currently. Again, I've already tested this ahead of time. When you take a short rest, it just heals 50% of your max HP, which is what it does normally. We have to pick a spell. I probably would have picked Terrorism for him, but again, it's a mod. It's not perfect. The spell doesn't work. So he instead is going to pick Dissonant Whispers. He's already got Friends as a cantrip. It's not exactly the same as Charm Person, but there's a lot of overlap. So he's going to pick Dissonant Whispers, whispering a discordant melody to a creature. And just to show off, like we have for Rangers and Warlocks and Sorcerers, that's the one. We can replace the spell if we want. I'm happy with these so far. They're fine. I'm just going to show you the short rest. Short rests normally give you half your maximum hit points. If we short rests, we would expect Lae'zel to get 6 hit points and Shadowheart to get 5. Which is what they get. There's no extra 50% there. So it's a bit of a shame it doesn't work. But, you know, it's a mod. I don't expect everything to be perfect. Also, this was made, well, before patch 7. So it's forgivable. So here we are at level 3 for Tavskier. Now, level 3 is a very interesting level for bards. Not only do we get to pick expertise in 2 proficiencies, 2 skills, we also get to choose our subclass. Now, starting with expertise, what is expertise? This is something I hope will be added to the game for other classes as well, because as far as I'm aware, rogues get expertise at different points also. So you choose 2 skills you're proficient in. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any proficiency check that uses either skill. So what this means is normally for, let's say, persuasion, Tavskier here will have a +2 from the fact that he's proficient in it. But with expertise, it'd go up to +4. And eventually, later in the game, past level 4, our proficiency bonus goes up to +3. So he would have a +6 in persuasion from the proficiency bonus alone. Now, so we get to pick 2. I think this mod is a bit broken because you can actually pick any 2 skills you want. Normally, you'd have to actually be proficient with the skill. Also, deception seems to be missing. Not sure why. But for Tavskier, I'm going to pick up persuasion and performance. Performance because he's a bard. That's what he does. That's how he used to get his money, earn his keep. And persuasion because he's generally a good fellow and likes to get people on his side. Then we come to subclass. I'm not going to go through all the subclasses in this video. I don't want it to be too long. But I'm just going to go for the College of Glamour. So the College of Glamour is the home of bards who mastered their craft in the vibrant realm of the Feywild, or under the tutelage of someone who dwelled there. Tutored by satyrs, Eladrin, or other Fey, these bards learn to use their magic to delight and captivate others. So what does this mean for him? He gets Mantle of Inspiration. So weave a song or tell a Fey magic and grant yourself a wondrous appearance that imbues your allies with vigor and speed. When you do so, each ally who can see you gains 5 temporary hit points, and for 1 round gets double movement speed and immunity to attacks of opportunity. That's pretty good. The way this works seems to be slightly off. Doesn't work as it probably should, as it gives the double movement speed and immunity to attacks of opportunity just for the current rounds, not until the start of the bard's next turn. So this means if Tavskier's at the end of the turn order, the initiative order, it's kind of pointless. Not completely pointless, because everyone still gets 5 temporary hit points. But since everyone else has gone before him, they don't actually get the double movement speed next turn. So that should be changed. And also, Enthralling show, you could probably charm an entire small town with 1 magical performance. Everyone will be talking about you for days to come. What this means, or the way this works, is that everyone within 60 feet has Charm Person on them, but it cannot be used in combat. If you could use it in combat, he could just walk into combat alone and then use this, and no one could attack him until perhaps he's hurt them. But this essentially gives you advantage on skill checks against NPCs, friendly or at least neutral NPCs. He also gets to pick a spell. He's going for ways of manipulating the mind, so he's going to pick up Crown of Madness. Instill madness in an enemy, making them attack the creature closest to them, even if it's allied. This changed from patch, I think it was patch 6, because previously the enemies got advantage on their first saving throw against this. They don't get that anymore, thankfully. So it's not quite so bad, but it's a wisdom saving throw. Lots of enemies at least don't have a bad wisdom, so it doesn't always work. Now, before we get to level 4, I think it's important to show you what's happened in the Druid Grove. Tavskier sent Astarion, who's been made invisible by Gale, so good teamwork here. Go and pick up a certain eye that a certain bard, wizard bard, has got, being Volo's Ursat's eye. Now, Astarion's pretty good at this. Also, while he's here, he's actually going to take the Whispering Promise. This wasn't under instruction from Tavskier. This is just Astarion being a thief. So then, what we'll do, send this to Tavskier, who will use it. Now his charisma's at 17. And at this point, we're also going to level up to level 4. At level 4, just like every other character, we get an ability score improvement. He also gets to pick a spell. He's going to pick up Enhance Ability. I mean, Tavskier isn't exactly a fighter. He's happy to help his party, but not everything has to be about combat, he feels. He wants to help his party in every way possible. And Enhance Ability is not such a bad way of doing that, giving advantage on any skill check to anyone at any point. And since he's just increased his charisma, what he's going to do is actually put that up to 18. Although this says 17, this doesn't include the +1 from the Ursat's eye. And since there's no feat currently that adds just +1 charisma, he's actually just going to put his strength up to 12, giving him a +1 in any strength check, so lets him carry more. And so he's going to be a nice, well-rounded human. Let's just double check that. Right, there we are. Charisma's at 18, strength is 12, dexterity 14, and wisdom is 12. Here we are in camp. Tavskier has been nice and busy. He's gone and collected a multitude of magical items. none of which are individually overpowered or anything, but they're all fairly good. So he's got the Warped Headband of Intellect, mostly just to make his skill checks even better. So he's going to get a +3 to any intelligence skill check. If we look at the skills here, this is what we've got, right? Intelligence is +3. Plus, I haven't shown you yet, but he has Jack of all trades, which really adds +1 to all of these, which isn't as it should be. Again, I'll show you later. Jack of all trades should only add half of Tavskier's proficiency bonus to skills he's not already proficient in, but at the moment in this mod, it just adds +1 to every single skill. Anyway, so this is just to help with intelligence checks. He is proficient in light armor. He's picked up the studded leather armor +1 from the Zentarim. Got Hell Rider's Pride. So if he heals, he's got a healing word. He's not always going to be healing, but he's not going to be using the Gloves of Power. He's not going to go and submit to the Absolute. So if he does heal, he gives that creature resistance to basically physical damage. He's got the Boots of Speed. The Boots of Speed don't really work properly. We've got the Click Heals action. It doesn't actually double the movement speed, but this is what he would have. He wants to get out of danger as quickly as possible, and enemies have disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you. He's also got the Guidance Necklace. Now, he does have Enhance ability, but you don't always want to use a level 2 spell slot to give advantage on an ability check. So he's going to use Guidance most of the time to help with ability checks, and then for important ones, maybe use Enhance ability. He's picked up the Sunwalker's Gift so he can see in the Underdark. And he's still got the Whispering Promise. He's got 2 hand crossbows now, which he started with, but he actually gave them to Astarion. And then also he's picked up the Staff of Arcane Blessing, because he doesn't usually use his melee weapon, but with the staff he's able to cast Bless and help out other people in his party. Very much a support character. So we're going to help out Stonemason Kith here. Let's use History. Now, first of all, he's proficient in History, so he gets +2 here, +3 from the Warped Headband of Intellect, and +1 from Jack of all trades. He shouldn't really have Jack of all trades. And then in the dialogue, we can use either Enhance ability for Fox's Cunning, or Guidance. Perhaps going to go with Guidance. I'm pretty confident I'm going to get this 10 with a minimum of 7 with Guidance. There, the total bonus is 7 to 10. Hopefully we don't fail this. There we are, nice and easy. So this time we'll go with Investigation. I'm going to keep it the same with Guidance. Oh wow, would you look at that? Far too easy. Go for Perception, probably not our strongest here. So perhaps instead of using Guidance, since we've only got +2, we'll go with Advantage instead. We'll take Owl's Wisdom. Oh, there we are. Maybe I wouldn't have needed it, but it's always good to be safe. So with ability checks, he's always going to be good. He's always going to have the opportunity to either have Enhance ability or Guidance. Tavskier is trying to persuade a Deep Rothe to do some work. So I've got a Wisdom check, I've got Animal Handling. He's not very good at it. I've opened up the bonus section of what bonuses I can add. So we can use a level 2 spell slot for Owl's Wisdom. We can use Enthralling Show, which I'm going to use, or we can use Guidance. Sadly, we can't use multiple of them at once. We've got to pick one or the other. Oh, that's a big failure. Let's see what happens. What we can see here is that everybody within 60 feet is now charmed, which is fairly good for Tavskier because he shouldn't be able to be attacked by anyone that's charmed. So unfortunately, the Deep Rothe did fall. But since we're here, we can show Tavskier in a fight. So what is he going to do? This is very lucky. All 4 of my characters have got initiative ahead of those 3. Duergar there. So, Bardic Inspiration. This is good for giving other people bonuses. He cannot give it to himself. Let's give it to Lae'zel so she can use Great Weapon Master. That uses a bonus action even. Doesn't even use an action, which is nice. So when I go to Lae'zel and we hover over a character, it says Bardic Inspiration. It says 80%, but Bardic Inspiration is plus 1d6, which isn't a fixed bonus. So what I'm going to do for her, hopefully this works out nicely, just because we can. Stick on Great Weapon Master. Yeah, we've got 80% chance to hit. This should be good. Ooh, perfect. Did 31 damage, and that's exactly what we needed. Quite lucky there, actually. Got 9 on 2d6, a bit above average, and then 8 on 1d8. But Tavskier isn't finished yet. He's still got a spell he can use if he wants to. So what is he going to do? He's got Sleep. Very basic, but very useful spell at this point. We've got Crown of Madness, but that's only good if you've got 2 enemies next to each other, rather than next to the party members, so there's no point in that. Could use Dissonant Whispers to deal some damage, but since we want this guy to die, I think the best thing to do is probably put this guy to sleep. Well, supporting the party, he's not dealt any damage directly, but he is enabling the others to get large amounts of damage done. Now, there's only 1 enemy left. They're Barbarian, they're Frenzied, but they've also used Reckless Attack. So it would be good perhaps to hit with a spell or something that does an attack roll. This is something he's not good at. The only thing he's got to attack directly are his weapons. So we could use his dual-wielded hand crossbows, which currently is bugged. I only clicked once, but it did 3 attacks. So the enemy died. Before I show you the next fight, I do just want to warn anyone who hasn't been to Grymforge that I guess there's a small spoiler up ahead. So if you don't want to have all the fights in Grymforge spoiled for you, please look away. Alright, so here is Tavskier and his party, you know, just doing the usual thing, walking around, passing skill checks. We got some chests. So we're going to send Lae'zel to go and open the chest. Not suspicious at all. Everyone's failing the perception check. Yeah, nothing's wrong here, right? Uh-oh. So here's some mimics. So we'll see what Tavskier can do here. We're all surprised, so the mimics basically get a free round of attacks. Oh, and a stolen weapon there. That's slightly annoying. So Tavskier is in a bit of trouble, kind of surrounded by 2 mimics. So he's going to use his boots to get out of here. So unfortunately, they still get opportunity attacks, but they do have... Oh, they don't even have disadvantage, so these boots just aren't working. So he's going to go as far as he can. Now, he can't use Crown of Madness, unfortunately, because these mimics are not humanoids. And he can't put them to sleep because they've got too many hit points currently, even for level 2. Can use Dissonant Whispers. Do a bit of damage, make one of them frightened. Perhaps this one up here who might be stealing another weapon. Or, perhaps more importantly, he's going to use Fairy Fire. It's dark down here. Lae'zel's got disadvantage. So at least 2 of them are now lit up. And all attacks against them will have advantage. And there'll be no disadvantage from being obscured by shadows. So Brave Astarian here, right from the back. Actually gets some poison on his weapon. Can now start launching sneak attacks against these mimics with a very high chance to hit. And then since he's a thief, take another shot with a hand crossbow. Bit dangerous. Could have been pulled into the cloud of daggers. Right out. Right. So what's he going to do? One nice thing about the Bard is that with Healing Word especially, he's always got a good use for his bonus action, whether it's Healing Word, Inspiration, or just an offhand attack with his hand crossbow. Going to help out Lae'zel. Looks like she needs a bit of help. And then we can deal out damage. Let's go for level 1. Let's focus on one of them. Oh, it worked. Frightened. Brilliant. And then run away. Since he's concentrating, I don't really want him being hit, but can't always choose that. Now, frightened enemies have disadvantage on their attacks. Well, they should have disadvantage on their attacks, but apparently didn't. Small bug there. Alright, I'm going to go for the one that actually I should be able to kill. There we are. So with the help of Tavskier here, we are kind of taking down these mimics, no problem. So we're back at the Underdark beach. We've just started the fight against the evil Duergar here. And I'm going to start off with a Tasha's Hideous Laughter, we hope. There we are. Hopefully taking this guy out for a round, and Tavskier's just that funny. Makes people laugh, fall on the ground. We've got a bonus action. Should always be trying to use a bonus action. So let's use this Mantle of Inspiration. I haven't shown this yet. So it affects all allies within 60 feet. So we should see everybody gain 5 temporary hit points. Also, we get this transformation. I don't know why. I can't say I particularly care for the transformation. We can see Astarian definitely has. Its movement speed is doubled, as it should. I'm actually going to move him back a bit, maybe. And it does say Lae'zel and Astarian have got double movement speed. So yeah, now it's Astarian's turn at the beginning of the next round, and he's just got 40 feet of movement. Doesn't actually have double movement speed, which is a bit sad. It'd be nice if it did work out like that. But, you know, everyone's got 5 temporary hit points, which don't run out until they're used up. So yeah, it's not all that bad. So I think it's time to try and use Crown of Madness. Now, annoyingly, Duergar have, here we are, advantage on saving throws against illusions and being charmed or paralyzed. So if I aim Crown of Madness at Lurgan here, 25% chance to work. Obviously, that's not very good. But poor old Holvik over here, Lae'zel's had her way with him and he is dazed. So we've actually got a 60% chance because when someone is dazed, they have disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. Now, if this had been a non-Duergar enemy and someone who wasn't, or a race that doesn't have advantage against such effects, dazed would be really good to get Crown of Madness to work. There we are, Crown of Madness. Now, I don't actually know if I've set this up quite well enough, because the distance between Holvik and Get Cole here is quite large. And I also don't know what Get Cole's going to do on his turn. So I'm going to get as far away as I can. But I do realise Lae'zel might be targeted. Ooh, that's fairly unfortunate, because now I think Lae'zel's the closest enemy to Holvik. So we've got Crown of Madness. So interestingly, he shot an arrow of fire at actually the reanimated corpse and not Lae'zel. They did put Hunter's Mark on Gale. So I'm going to leave Holvik alone and try and get some of these guys to be close. Oh, doing our job for us. Get some of these guys closer to Holvik than we are. Crown of Madness doesn't last forever though. It's only going to last 2 more turns maximum, because he should get a... Though it doesn't say it, he should get a saving throw at the end of every turn against Crown of Madness. It doesn't look like he actually did get a saving throw, interestingly enough. One last thing kind of to take care of when using a Bard, or Tavskier here, is that you do have to make sure you're not using 2 spells that use concentration at the same time, which is why I'm going to go for Dissonant Whispers against Get Coal. Oh, he is frightened, which is nice, because he shouldn't, hopefully, move. And then, because I haven't used any inspiration on an individual, let's give it to Lae'zel. It doesn't have to be the melee file, so I could have used it on Astarion, although he's already taken his action this turn. Could have used it on Gale, no problem. And kind of ideally, I would leave the reanimated corpse here, so that Holvik can attack it instead. So since he's frightened, he's not going to move. But he is making himself larger, a bit scary. So because of Crown of Madness... Oh, I went after Get Coal even. I'm going to end it here. I don't need to show you the rest of the battle, I don't think. What do you think of Tavskier and Bards in general? I really do quite like Bards. I might make another video about Bards and kind of their choice of subclass, because there's some really, really good choices. Bards are very good at filling in gaps in the party, very support-based type of character. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, please do consider subscribing, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.